What'd you get?
Holly Quinn and baseball.
Wow.
Very good. Happy
Enciende tu magic. Hola. Baldiculata. Annunciate acqui. Fish, taco, and Jean.
Think before you came to Australia.
La Ruffadora. Buenos dias, hola, welcome to Mexico. Here we are in Camalú, 16,000 people down in the hill behind us, and here we are at the Mothership Open Arms campus of Camalú. We arrived here, and then for 40 minutes we quickly set up, and then we set off again another hour to the third campus, which is currently in construction, Los Pinos. We arrived at 3 p.m. and we were back on the bus at 4 p.m. and we traveled down to run kids ministry for a women's Bible study that was happening at the construction site of Los Pinos. Now, this Bible study started with just a couple of women under a tree that Heidi met about a year and a half ago, and now it's this booming ministry in Los Pinos. Now, we really appreciated the fact that we were doing ministry in a room that was completely under construction. We had one light, and we had a whole bunch of really hyped up kids ready to see some visitors. And so it was a very challenging experience, to be honest. A lot different from Australia, with comfortable rooms, air conditioning, adequate lighting. We're using phone torches at one point to be able to see things. But it was really special and exciting to be here and know that we were supporting both the men and the women to receive ministry in this new venture of Los Pinos for the Open Arms team.
I came down on a missions trip when I was 22 years old, 19 years ago, and that missions trip changed my life forever. And I ended up working at the orphanage that I went on the missions trip to, and Daniel, my husband, grew up there. So he was working there also, but he had grown up in that orphanage his whole entire life. And I would talk to him, and he would talk about his parents, and I'm like, well, why did you grow up in an orphanage? And the reality is, in Mexico, there isn't childcare. There's no form of childcare in Mexico. There's not a system for childcare, and most parents who can't make it on their own will end up voluntarily drop off their kids at an orphanage, because an orphanage will provide housing, clothes, a roof over their head, food to eat, and everything that a child needs. And so they would drop their kids off, or they would lock their kids in their home while they went to work, and then CPS would come in, so like Child Protective Services would come in and remove children from their home and take them to orphanages because they were home alone. And so I just said, there's got to be another way. How can we keep families together? How can we make sure that kids aren't growing up in orphanages if they don't need to be there? How can we make sure kids are not being locked in their homes and being on the street while their parents are at work? What could we do to keep families together? And so after a lot of prayer and talking, and we got married, obviously, we said, let's build a no-cost child care center for the most vulnerable children and families in the community.
Our first full day of ministry, we actually split up into two teams, and we achieved a lot. Half of us went over to Los Pinos to do some construction work. Some of the guys hung some drywall. There was a bit of sanding and painting that happened. And the rest of us, we stayed here in Camalú, and we ran the daycare for the day. Now we had, I think, around about 35, 40 kids for the entire day, and we ran them through this Australiana cultural experience, and it was really, really special. We introduced them to things like Eve Vegemite and all the classics, Lamingtons, Tim Tams. That was a really enjoyable experience. Showed them some kids' church games that they never played before. Me, Jeremiah, and Mia even got the chance to teach them the ancient schoolyard game of handball, which was fantastic. And the kids really loved it, and were playing it throughout the afternoon. And so that was a really special treat for us. Look, I think the big reflection on the day, at least from the daycare side, is that Open Arms is a really top-notch organization. They have absolutely beautiful facilities, way more I think than what we were expecting. And I think because of the generosity of the churches that give to them, they're able to actually put something forward that is really professional. And the educators too, they really do love kids. While they don't have, I guess, as formal training as we would have in Australia, they're just parents who love kids and they're really skilled at what they do. And the kids have a really warm spirit too. They all came up and gave us hugs, and it was a really special time to be here. So it blew away our expectations. We were really stretched and challenged. The language barrier is something that is really significant. If we had a Spanish-speaking person on the team, man, that would make a huge difference for what we're doing. But we're picking up little things along the way, and it's been really exciting.
Everything needed to heal you from sin.
Pero Jesús tiene todo lo necesario para poder sanarte y quitarte del pecado.
He has died on the cross for your sin.
Él murió en esa cruz por tus pecados.
And he has risen from death to give you new life.
Él resucitó de la muerte. Él venció a la muerte para poder darte una nueva vida.
So we're here in Los Pinos, checking out the third Open Arms campus. And, here we go, Jess. Watch out, Jess! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Well, Jess, I'll put down the snake. Put down the snake.
So this is our new campus in Los Pinos. This is the little town of Los Pinos. And when we first started coming out here, a couple actually donated the property for us to start another Open Arms. And we said, you know, that's a great idea, but we wanted to make sure that it was a God idea because we already have a lot of work to do. And we had just opened in Camelou and we were just getting things running, and we're like, well, we don't know if we have the capacity to start another campus, but take us out there and we'll look at the property and we'll pray and see if this is really what God wants us to do. And so I asked God, give me a sign that this is what you want us to do. Like, it sounds like a good idea, but I want it to be a God idea. And we pulled up just like we pulled up right now, and there was nothing here. It was just a little small house, and the church on the property was a shack, like I don't know, like garage doors and a tarp for the roof. And I get out of the car and I look right across the street here, and there's a store called Heidi. Like, Heidi is not a normal name in Mexico. It's a German name. I don't know any Heidis, especially not how they're spelled like that. It's spelled completely different, like the Mexican way that Heidi is. And then right here is hardware store Danny. And I was like, okay, God, like, is this the sign? Like, our names are literally written in the signs of the stores in front of the property. And it was just kind of like the confirmation that this is exactly where we were supposed to be, and this is what the spot that God had us. And so.
Hola, I'm standing outside the Los Pinos campus. Hola, I'm standing outside the Los Pinos campus, and this is the third Open Arms campus. It started being built a year and a half ago. There's the miraculous story that Heidi told us about how this campus came to be. But about a year and a half ago, Heidi began a Bible study with 5 women under a tree that's now actually unfortunately been destroyed. And in a year and a half, this entire facility has been built through the hands of many missions teams coming, but also just a lot of hard work. And I want to take you inside and show you a little bit about what they've got going on here. So come on inside. Right, and now we're here on a Saturday actually helping them to put on some of the finishing touches. So a whole bunch of the Australian team have been upstairs painting. We've been able to do that honestly really quickly over the last day or two. And the American guys who actually are skilled at doing this, they're hanging up some gyprock on the walls and doing a really awesome job. So it's a great privilege to help contribute to them being able to finish on time and be a part of the project here in Los Pinos.
so fast that it all sprayed off.
Outside, yeah. It's windy too, so it's all windy. Show the look, show the hands. Pretty standard. Look at the pants. Whoa, how did you get from your back?
Jezza painted my back. He painted me first.
I'm standing behind the giant iron cross on the top of the hill here at the Camalú campus. When you're down in the city, from anywhere where you're driving or where you're standing, this is lit up at night and you can see it on top of the hill. And so it's really special. But what was even more special was gathering with the people of God on Sunday. I got the privilege to share the word in both the morning and the afternoon service. Our Phoenix team joined the worship team, and so we had multilingual songs, English and Spanish, being sung. There was a real sense of the body of Christ joining together that was pointed out throughout the service. We all shouted out hallelujah multiple times, and it was really special for us as the Australian team to be able to impart our missions heart as Imaginations Church. That's the message that I shared. And it was also really special to have many people come to the front of the altar to receive that impartation of our church. And we also were prayed for and received the impartation of open arms, this care for the community, this absolute love for people. So that was really special. There was a real sense of us combining together, and we obviously hung out and ate a whole bunch of food and met a few people as well after the service. Well, in between the two Sunday services, I think we did at least what was my highlight of the trip so far, which was collecting together 45 grocery bags, all through the missions dollars of our church. We packed them all together as a team, went through the grocery store, picked them all out. That was a pretty fun experience, not gonna lie. And then we set off to 3 different areas of the city of Camalú to distribute, to pray for families, and to invite them to church that night with the Australian crew there. So each person as part of the team approached these houses. We introduced ourselves. Every single person received our packs really, really welcomingly. It just was filled with basic food items. And right down there in the corner, it's kind of known, George, one of our guys who was translating for us, is known as the Hood of Camalú. And you can see by the footage, lots of dirt roads and very simple living. So it was really special to go around and actually see that firsthand, see the amount of people that were living in houses. Some houses had 12 people or 3 different families living within these small places. And so we obviously are super blessed in Australia to live in the places that we live and the homes that we enjoy. And it was just so special to see the welcoming and hospitality spirit. Even some teams, not our team, but some teams got to go into the homes and be welcomed in as well. So that was really special and a great highlight here in Mexico.
You want to help someone? Bob has to carry 135 potatoes.
You right?
No.
What is it?
I don't know.
What are you supposed to get?
I don't know. Beans. Oh, beans.
Beans.
Beans. Is this beans?
Is it beans?
No, that's dog food. Wait, is it?
Dog food?
It doesn't look like beans. Is it beans?
It kind of looks like beans, but it's chipolates. Well, it is 9:37 p.m. here in Camalú, and we have just finished our final day of ministry here. We split off again into two teams. We sent the American guys and a couple of us Sydney guys out to finish our painting and our gyprocking, and completed a whole bunch more rooms than we were expecting, to be honest, and they were expecting. But the guys just went from morning to night smashing it out there, and they just got back fairly recently. But for us here at Camalú, we spent the day, me and Katrina, we shared with the staff, and can I just say, this is a top class children's ministry. They preach the gospel every single day, and this is a extremely safe environment. The hands of and the hearts of these educators is to protect these kids and to bring these kids into a safe place. They themselves have stories of how they have been affected by ministers and people who have come to love them and bring them in, and so they're looking to pass that on, and also just do it in a really professional and safe way. And it's really honestly a miracle of God, the people that Heidi and Dan have met here who are ministering to their kids, and God continues to provide an amazing group of staff. And we finish it off as a team doing our little mini Chocktoberfest for the day, playing a whole bunch of games, a whole bunch of fun, guys stepping up and sharing working words, testimonies, Liam Crozier leading the worship. Man, it was an awesome day. I think the absolute highlight though was to finish the day after dinner hearing from Dan and Heidi, sharing for about 40 minutes their big story, from when they met to how they stepped out in faith from a call of God to build a ministry which now has 3 locations, 60 staff, and have never once missed the funding of those staff, have taken big bold faith steps, and have seen God provide, and the people of God provide, both financially and in their hard labor, coming and serving as part of the missions team. So this truly is a really special ministry. I'm not just saying that off the high of a missions trip. Genuinely, these are very unique, anointed people who love God, who are serving God here, who are doing it with a joyful heart, with great skilled hands, and are really building up this community. And so I'm now taking in this view of Camalú for the final time at night. I can see the complete cityscape with the beautiful cross behind me. It's very cold and windy here, but it's been an awesome trip. And I suppose for now it is, I don't even know if it's buenas noches or something like that, but it is adios anyway. Just say fare thee well, and we'll see you in the US of A.